Hey, John, thanks for joining us today. As way getting started, give us a little background on yourself.
You're welcome, Brian. It's my pleasure to be here. So, man, I don't even know where to start, but let's start with this. I've been in sales for, it's hard to believe, 30 years.
Is that all?
It's I can't
Rookie.
even believe it's been that long.
Yeah.
When I stop and I think about that, I think about my kids' ages now, and I think about you being a grandfather now, and I think about wow, it just seemed like I was just getting started in sales and why I went into sales because growing up I was kind of an introvert. I was a computer nerd in the
Yeah.
80s, and I went to college and I got this degree in computer engineering. Well, at the time, it seemed like a good
Great
idea,
idea. Yeah.
right? Great idea. The PC was taking off and the world was changing in the manufacturing facilities. And after graduating and getting a really good job, I went to work every day, like join the workforce. I didn't like it. Like I went to the same place, the same building with the same people, did the same thing every day. And I would rather go, I don't know, mow the lawn, bale hay, pick weeds out of the grass, anything. So it was, it got me into sales. I just took the forward and I said, hey, we got to get into sales because I had met this man, Marty. I'll never forget Marty, man. He worked for Hewlett Packard. He came into our engineering shop once a month, once a quarter, did software updates and stuff. And he was like the technical sales guy. And I was, Marty, how do I get a job like yours? Just start asking. And wouldn't you know, about a year later, Marty called me up and he said, hey, John, you still serious about this? Because I know a guy who knows a guy. How about that, right? And I got into sales, not as a direct salesperson, but as somebody who could speak the tech language and
Yeah.
bridge that gap from the
Right.
C-level executives to the technical people who were just locked behind a computer, and it kind of launched this sales career of mine. And here I am, I've spent the last 15 years now being part of the Heartland sales team. And it's just brought me to where I am today, is having a lot of success on my own. And today, I spend the majority of my time coaching, leading, hiring, just building our brand, helping my sales team that I work for, helping them close deals, you
So
know.
you were looking for more variety, more excitement, should
I
I
was
say?
just looking for, yeah, more just not doing the same thing every day,
Yeah.
and that's the cool thing about sales that's exciting is that you don't know what today's going to bring.
No, you don't.
Although I woke up this morning, I'm meeting with Brian at 11 o'clock, on my
Hi.
calendar says so. What's
It
that
must
going
be
to be
true.
about? I don't know. Let's
Yeah.
find out, right?
Yeah.
It's just like when I'm going on an appointment with one of my sales reps. Just, hey, what's this about? I don't know. Let's go find out. You
Yeah.
know, let's
Cool.
let's go find out and explore. So there you
And
go.
how long did it take before you became comfortable or you knew it was your thing? 30
Well,
years?
yeah, let's say 30 years, and I still have days where I'm figuring it out. Is this still my thing?
Yeah.
you know but I think that's what helps drive me every day is that desire to, I can do better today, I can do better this time. I want to learn more. I believe that we're still learning the whole time.
Well, that's it, because most people, it is that variety that they
Mhm.
look for and why they get into sales. That, control over your income. And but
Work-life balance, if your company allows it, like that. I think that's a
I
slippery
don't see
slope
people
there with
find
some
that much,
companies.
right? Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, I didn't learn that until later on in sales, how important it was to actually unplug. I know a lot of
Especially if
sales
you have a
folks.
family. Yeah.
Well, yeah. How do you get away from your work and your family and figure out what you need to have without sacrificing each of those? So you got to figure out a way to balance it.
Yeah.
And that's a big challenge for people. It
And,
really is.
given that you didn't have any education in sales, how did you learn it?
just real life experience and
Yeah.
just always asking questions. And, over the years, I had some really bad sales managers. Okay. And I had some
No.
really good sales leaders. I'm going to call them leaders because it was the managers that I probably learned the most out of
Yeah.
about what I needed in my career was, man, I don't want to be like that, or holy smokes, I can't believe that person's talking to me this way. Is that all they care about? And you're left feeling that way. And then I was working for a Fortune 50 company. Okay, well, I'll keep the names out of it.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Back in 20 years ago, and I had a director there that just helped. He was very empathetic. He was always sought to understand, and he served to be a great mentor. His name's Bill, and Bill taught me so much about, because I knew how I responded to him. Right, I responded favorably. It made put a smile on my face. It made me feel good about it. So having good leaders is just as important as having bad leaders. You can't
Yeah.
discredit the bad ones because there's a lot to learn there.
There is.
Having somebody that you can model yourself after, I thought, I feel still today is really important.
And what was some of the lessons that you learned from that mentor that you still have today?
How important empathy is.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a key part to I know, to my success today. And it's not just empathy as a sales leader. It's like when I'm sitting down with a prospect, figuring out where they're at. Why are they asking me these questions? What's behind, what don't I know? And you can only do that if you take a real empathetic and genuine approach to it and just have a conversation, you know. Um,
And why do you think most younger salespeople aren't empathetic? Or it takes a while to develop empathy?
that I think about my own story, right? My own life. And I I think some of it has to do with life situations. Okay. What what are they struggling with? Have they truly struggled, where somebody just wasn't there helping them? Like they had to figure out the situation that they were in. And we're not just talking, well, I had a bad afternoon and this happened to me today. No, we're talking about maybe a life situation that they had to navigate through day in and day out. And it might not have anything to do with their work. It might be a personal story. And I think that's where today a lot of our I don't want to say younger people, but in fact they are younger in sales professionals and they're starting out, you know, the world's different today. They can have the answer just by their technology. Go to their smartphone, bam, there's the answer. It's this instant gratification more than it is, we got to really figure this out. And I got to go and I got to talk to, I got to go talk to 10 or 15 different
That's
people
an
before I
interesting
get the
point.
answer.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I never thought about that.
They just, I know, like, I'm sure with you, right? We didn't have this technology where I could have an answer
That's
immediately.
true.
I
Right.
had to go seek it out. I had to go to the library. I had to read some books. I had to talk to
People.
all the people in my life before I could. So it took longer,
Yeah.
right, to come to that conclusion, as opposed to today. I mean, I see it in my own life today, right? I'm making decisions much quicker, much faster. And a lot of that is because the information is available to me.
Yeah. And another thing about it is, I think to become empathetic, you got to reverse engineer it, because what comes before empathy is curiosity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what comes before curiosity, you have to have some level of confidence.
And that could, a lot of, not, let's say this, not every young person, they're still figuring out their life,
Right.
more or less their professional career, what they're going to do for the rest of their life. They're still figuring out who they are. And once you figure out who you are, then the confidence actually comes.
Right. You got to become
right?
comfortable with what you're selling,
Yeah.
what the person wants from what you're selling, how you're different,
Hmm.
kind of the stuff they teach you in the enablement meetings.
Right.
But then you have to then become confident, curious, and empathetic. That's a long road to haul.
It it really is,
Yeah.
and it's not one that's easily traveled, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Right. You
You
just can't tell somebody be empathetic. It's like say, be taller, right?
Right, right. Hey, I'm wearing my tall shoes today
Yeah.
because it's
What?
going to make me feel confident,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Let me ask some empathetic questions.
Yeah, right.
You-
It's something that we don't really talk about. People
right.
don't. If you think about a lot of the sales train, and so at least most of the sales trainings that I've been through in my career, is we never talked about empathy.
No, it's all about us, what to say, how to
How to
handle
s-
objections, how
how to
to,
say it.
yeah,
It's not how you deliver the message is just as important as what the message is.
yeah.
You know.
And what's kept you at one company for so long?
Well, it's in sales, right? That's some folks don't like to talk about it. It's about the money.
Oh,
And that's what came right. Come on. Why did I get in sales? Right. I wanted to make more money. Yes, I
oh,
told you.
here
I
it comes.
told you. I
Here comes
told
the
you
truth. See,
it
it
was
took
the
me,
people.
folks, 15 minutes to get to it.
Well, why are people in sales? They want to make more money
Yeah.
at its
Have
core.
control over your income.
Have control over it. Get paid with what you're worth. But what's interesting is that's why I came to Heartland,
Yeah.
because I knew folks here and I watched them and and I became a believer. Like, wow, you hold it. If they did that, oh, I can do
I could do
this,
that.
you
Yeah.
know. But what's kept me here after 15 years is the people, is the community, is the culture, is the opportunity.
That's hard to find.
The opportunity is what you make of it, right? You could choose, it's like sale. You could choose to make that extra stop at the end of the day. You could choose to make the extra phone calls, right? Choose to go the extra mile or just be content with enough.
Now,
At Heartland, it's about your performance.
tell me about the introversion, because clearly you don't come across as an introvert at all anymore.
No, it came with confidence.
Okay. And what gave you that
It-
confidence?
success, determination. Like, oh, you told me I can't do something? I'm going to show you, right?
Yeah.
And you just put your head down and you just go do it.
And where'd the determination come from?
Just, I'm pausing. I'm thinking, man, yeah, you're taking me back there, right?
Well, not everybody has it, or everybody kind of can connect to it, because determination is a critical.
it really is. I wanted a better life for myself
Okay.
than what was provided me as a youth, as a kid, right? My parents, my family, 95% of my family are all, we'll call them blue collar workers. They punched a clock. Okay. They worked their 40 to 50 hours a week, and then they went home and they spent their family time, and then they went back to the factory.
Yep.
Okay. Um, a small percentage of my family out, went off that path.
So you saw the money as freedom and independence of worrying about bills and
Worrying about the bills, worrying about your
okay.
future,
Yeah.
you know. um it's it's funny because along this, early on in this journey, I often would find myself, when I had alone time, thinking, man, what was life like before the Industrial Revolution, when life was so simple? Money wasn't much of a currency. Everything you needed to survive was self-sustainable right
Right.
outside your door.
Yeah. Had food.
You had food. What else did you need? You had the
Yes.
people around you that
Community.
loved and supported you. I
Yep.
mean, life was full then. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we introduced the Industrial Revolution, and we introduced currency and money more so than what existed before. And it starts to become something, then you add in technology and being aware of all this. And now all of a sudden, money is the root of a lot of things.
Well, yeah, because it's the common means of value exchange.
Correct.
But
Correct.
you bring up a great point there, because we've really only been talking because before the Industrial Revolution, we didn't meet strangers,
Right.
right? We
That's
worked
right.
on the farm,
Yeah.
friends and family, church,
That's
right?
right. That's right. Exactly.
And then all of a sudden you had company,
Hmm.
which is, one next level. But
Yeah.
now everyone's a stranger or a lot of
Correct.
people, right? But we're meeting like this.
Right.
First time, we've never
Yeah.
met.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my point here is that this is all new to our brains,
Oh, sure it is. Sure it
because
is.
now we're meeting tens, hundreds of strangers a week.
Right. Right.
But our customers may only be meeting 2 or 3 strangers a week.
That's right. That's that. And that's that salesperson that's coming in to introduce something new to them. Well, that's scary.
That's first, strangers are scary
For sure. Right.
because we don't know, like, or trust them yet.
That's correct.
So if we don't have that yet, do we believe what they say? Or do we take it with a grain of salt, or take it as a data point?
I think it's it's all of the latter there, right?
Yeah.
It's how we view that person walking through our door, like, who are they? What do they want? Right? Is it a salesperson or is it a customer?
Right.
And the guards go up.
Of course. Right. Because somebody rings your doorbell,
Yeah.
and you look out the window with the little knob. If you recognize them, if it's a friend or family, you open the door. Hey, how you been? If it's a stranger or someone you don't want to talk to, let's say it's a stranger, you wonder, what do they want? Who are they?
Correct. Your whole demeanor is different.
Right. There's nothing in their hands. They're not FedEx or UPS delivering something.
No.
They probably want my time or my money.
That's right. That's right. And that's the real craft, right? In sales, that's the craft right there to master immediately, is how do you turn that you're appearing as a foe, you got to make them a friend right away.
Yes, you do.
There's a knack to that.
Right. And I think that's what salespeople miss today. People rely on their message and their value and their product to justify their time, instead of, you first got to get off of that stranger.
Correct. And they're thinking, and there's a myth there, right? The salesperson is thinking, oh, if they will just listen to me, I have all this great stuff.
Yeah, because we go door to door, or phone call to phone call.
Right. That's right.
And
that's right.
And we may have done the research, and we almost feel like we know them and know their situation and their company and their problems, but they don't know us.
Correct. And there's a critical step there in the sales process, which is right in the beginning, which causes frustration and everything. And you know what? It's simple. A lot of this is, I practice this, and I kind of, I'll say I'll teach this. It's as simple as doing this. You and I are smiling at each other.
It's a give.
Make people smile. Walk into a place and say good morning.
It melts so many cold looks.
Correct.
Because when I did a drop by, I would just do the smile and try and a little joke, or even an egg, or a little compliment or something to get them to loosen up a little.
Right. And every situation is different. So you're going to have, as you do that, you're going to have multiple ways, based on the situation, to get somebody to smile back at you.
Because it is kind of contagious.
Oh, without a doubt.
When you see someone smiling at you, you tend to smile back.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do smile, you feel good.
Right. And when you feel good, what are you projecting?
positivity, friendliness, openness.
and confidence.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Because you won't smile if you're insecure.
Of course not.
You don't
The
smile
nervous
at the
energy takes
police.
over. It just takes over, like,
You're all tight and you read your script and everyone's like
hi, I'm
rolling their
John. I'm
eyes.
with Heartland and I'm selling software. I'm selling credit card processing. Do you want to buy some? And you become this robot that then all of a sudden the guard goes back up with the person you dropped in on. You became a foe again.
Right. Because now you're just a commodity commercial.
That's right. That's right.
And people are saying, do I need this, want this, care about this? No.
No, I can get it from listen, I know somebody that I can get it from that I'm
Yeah.
familiar with.
Right. I can get it from Stripe, whatever it is. People just,
Correct.
I don't need a salesperson for that.
Well, again, that you could tie that back to technology and go, well, I can just get all this online. I don't need you.
Right.
There's a struggle there, if you will, a battle. It's a challenge. It's a challenge.
And what do you see in people who come to you asking for help, other reps? Say, John, I'm struggling here. I'm not feeling this is my bag. I'm not sure I'm made out for sales. Is that what you hear, or is it?
I'll hear that sometimes from. It's not that I'm not made out for sales. It's they'll come to me and they'll say something along the lines of, I just didn't have any success today. Okay. Well, tell me more. Well, I just don't feel like I accomplished anything today. Okay. I have to figure out a way to get more out of that, right? So now it's tell me about the last conversation you had. Who was it with? What did you say? What did they say? So when I'm seeking to understand, what I'm finding is that with the sales reps, they miss that critical part of breaking down their wall of, they just want to get to the selling part. They just want to get to the selling part.
Because that's what they're good at.
Hey, I want to schedule an appointment with you. Will you schedule an appointment with me? I got this great stuff here and I need for you to meet with me so I can, hold it. I'm not going to sell you. I'm going to learn about your business. So then once I know about your business, I can apply our stuff to it, because that's solution selling, which we all are evolving into. Okay. But they miss that critical part of
Right.
breaking down that barrier right away in the beginning.
And then you walk right into the commodity trap.
And that's all you have left.
That's all you have.
Because
tell me how it's
how much does your product cost?
How much is it?
Tell me how much your product costs.
That's too expensive. And then you fall into the pricing trap and you try and fix the pricing objection.
Correct. And it's very difficult for anybody, even a seasoned salesman.
Because it's not about price.
That's right.
It's not about price. It's about, I don't care. I don't see any reason.
That's exactly it. And that's why our prospects always go to price. Oh, I'm going to get them on the price game.
It's the easy question. Right.
I can get rid of them that way.
You see a Lamborghini drive by the road. What do you think? First thing, I wonder how much that is.
Yeah, right.
Am I interested? No.
Correct.
It's a beautiful car. I can't afford it, but I'd like to know how much it costs.
Because you're curious. So we'll see if you're curious.
Yeah.
Good information to have. Maybe I'll need it down the road. Maybe I'll be able to afford it down the road.
Yeah. And have you found a way to get them to see the real problem? Because they've heard it before. They've heard it before.
Well, they have heard it before. Only if it's a sales rep that is open to hearing what they might have done wrong or what they might have missed. Yeah. And that's really hard. Okay. Self-awareness is really difficult for people because it doesn't come natural.
Well, people think it's about intelligence, and it's not about intelligence.
Correct. Oh, I should have been smarter than that, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because when you tell it, they're going to say, oh, I know that, but I don't know how to do that.
Right. It's just applying different aspects of it. Yeah. That's it.
It's like building it in, and maybe even them empathizing, doing it to them.
Right.
So they can see. Because, yeah, ask them, what are you in market for? You looking for a TV, car, house, vacation? What are you looking for?
Correct. Asking questions. Are you seeking to understand what they're after? Or you just get into the selling part because that's their job. They're a salesperson. They
Well,
just want to
that's it.
sell.
And people think that as long as they're talking, it's a conversation.
Well, as long as they're talking.
They're
Yeah.
talking.
Yes. There's the myth, right? But I did all the talking.
They know everything now. How can they not go with us?
Right. I can't believe they didn't buy from me.
I
Really?
told them everything. The best demo I ever gave.
Sure. Right. One of the things that I find myself doing a lot, right, as a sales leader is getting the sales rep to understand why. So, hey, boss, I just closed the deal. And it can't be about, oh, great. How much is it for? How much? No. It's why did they buy from you?
Oh, they love me.
Okay, great. Right. And you get that answer. Well, it was me. They bought from me. Right. Okay. But why? Well, hold on, let me ask you differently. What problem did you solve for them? And when you can start to get that sales rep to understand that that's more important than anything else, now they're starting to get on the path of, okay, if I could figure this out every time and they can start to connect the dots, they'll have greater success as opposed to just selling whatever product it is we're selling because you're spectacular.
Well, that's it, because a lot of people use the doctor-patient analogy, and that's like inbound, though. We're more like the doctors making unannounced and unrequested house calls.
Right.
So you can't go in asking, how's your diet?
Right.
You got to ease into it.
That's right. Figure out learn a little bit about them, right?
Otherwise, they'll say, "No, I'm fine. Everything's great." Well, they have 5 pills on their table, and they're, hitting their chest a couple times and out of breath and
they're feeling
coughing.
like crap. Right. They're feeling horrible about everything,
Yeah, how long you had that cough?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does it bug you at all?
Sure. How's it make you feel? Right. If you can get the sales rep to realize how they're making other people feel about the questions that they're asking, boy, there's some success that can really come from that. It comes down to that self-awareness again.
Now, the upside that introverts have is they tend to focus on questions versus statements, because questions are easy.
Right. I've got all my questions written down. I just have to follow the questions. Right.
And was that your go-to until you got the confidence?
Early on, it was absolutely. I needed a guideline.
Yeah.
I needed something to make sure that I was asking the right questions. And as a less experienced salesperson, I was never afraid to get out my pad, right, where I had some questions written down and ask questions as a guideline. And it wasn't until you got the confidence through the experience and you had that success where now I can just show up without my piece of paper, right? And just
they're part of your
live in the
DNA.
situation.
Yeah. And was there a particular skill or technique that took your game to the next level where you really, an epiphany happened, a light bulb went off, and your game really accelerated?
It was, and I don't know where I learned this, okay? But if what I figured out was, I'm doing it right now. I paused and you were like, what?
What's he going to say?
Yes.
Here it comes.
That ability to command the room, all based on how you're speaking, your delivery, your pauses. And when I figured that piece out for myself, that I forgot where I learned this, but I remember learning it. And I was like, is that going to work? I'm going to try it. right? I'm in a boardroom with my director and, 4 or 5 people from the people that we were selling to. And I did it. And when I paused, everybody leaned in, waiting to hear what John was going to say next. And I walked out of that meeting and couldn't wait to get back into my car so I could go, holy smokes, it works. Like, wow, that was powerful. But you just had to do it, and you had to figure it out.
Well, then you become curious about what other skills you can build on top of it, because it brings up the perfect point, because sales is a performance profession. It's how well you do it, not just if you do it and how you do it, but how well you do it.
Without a doubt, have the self-awareness to know that exactly are others perceiving you? Are they perceiving you as a salesman, or as, oh, that guy knows everything, right? Oh, he never listens to me. You're on display all of the time.
Right. And I got to assume that your clients want to talk with you, not that they have to talk.
That's correct. Because like we're selling something today, every business already has. Every business accepts credit cards as a form
They
of
have a way of
payment.
doing it. Yeah.
Every business has employees in which they need to pay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's Heartland's business. Every business has software already that they're using to run their operations. Well, that's Heartland's business. They don't need to talk to us. They don't need it.
Yeah.
They don't need it.
Hey, John, this has been a great conversation. Where can people go to connect and follow you?
On LinkedIn, connect with me and follow me on LinkedIn. I never believe that we can ever have enough connections. I mean, after all, that's what brought you and I together today, right?
Sure
Is
is.
just being connected and trying to learn from one another as we continue to move forward. So